There we go. And now we are joined by Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Cares Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. And Denny, before we go into talking about your weekend ahead here at Richmond Raceway, your home track, why don't you tell us a little bit about this FedEx Cares paint scheme that's benefiting the National Urban League?
Yeah, National Urban League and Project Ready. I actually got to speak with a couple of the kids that went through the program last week, as a matter of fact, to kind of get educated. Anything that's on the race car, I like FedEx to kind of educate me a little bit more about the programs. So A, I know what I'm talking about, and B, I understand what FedEx Cares is supporting. And this program, they've actually been supporting for many, many years and will continue many years past this one. But basically, it's a program to get kids in different parts of the country that are not as economically friendly into their schools and out into the workforce, and get them prepared either for college or to go to work. And so it's been a great program that the FedEx Cares initiative, as we said, started a few years ago to contribute to 50 million people by 2023, which will be FedEx's 50th anniversary. So this is a great opportunity for us to put the FedEx Cares car in victory lane and give Project Ready and National Urban League the recognition they deserve.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions. And our first question is going to come from Lane Casadante. Go ahead with your question, Lane.
Hey, Denny. How are you? Lane from CBS 6 here in Richmond. Are you confident with your team's knowledge of this year's short track rules package combined with your knowledge of this particular track and your success here, does that increase your chances of unloading fast here on Saturday?
Yeah, I think so. I think that when we look at, the short tracks have been the biggest question, right? Because we went from a high downforce package, to the low downforce package, which is significantly different. The setup of the car will be entirely different. But I look at the races in which we've had from one to the other, we've actually performed really, really well and contended for race wins at each one of them. So I am confident. I sat down with the crew chief yesterday and kind of went through Richmond and thought about, our outlook for it. And we're confident that when we get there and we unload, we're going to bring it to the front and hopefully get a win. It's a track that makes me a little gun shy, as I told him before, because we'll just have some years where out of the blue, we'll dominate the first race and we'll run 16th in the next one. I just don't understand. It's like I never raced the track before. So he's confident. He's like, no. It ain't happened as long as I've been here, and it's not happening. So I just always want to make sure that I run good at my home track, and he assures me we're going to be great.
Thanks, Danny. Good luck Saturday night. We'll see you then.
All right, thank you.
Our next question is going to come from Dave Burns. Go ahead with the question, Dave.
Hey, hi, Denny. Staying with the Gabehart theme here. He made a comment to me a couple of weeks ago that I want to get your opinion on. When he joined, your career was not, rocketing in the right direction. And he said that you allowed him to have leadership and that's been part of the key here. Can you remember, was that a conscious decision on your part, knowing him, or was that something that you sort of melded into?
Well, it's interesting how this whole thing started and happened. JGR management set me aside. I'll never forget, pulled me to the side of the hauler at Watkins Glen in 2018 and says, we're thinking about making a change. And I'm like, oh shit, with me? And so I was like, oh no. And they're like, no, we think we have somebody that's ready to come to Cup, that's driven, that's really has a chip on their shoulder to prove that he thinks he's the best and he wants to go prove it. And we think it'd be a good match for you. And I admit, for a few weeks I was very much against it. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I had worked with him a little bit with Dave Rogers. And he is a short track guy, and I really I did have good conversations with him, but I just didn't know. I was fearing the unknown. But once I sat down and had lunch with him one day, I knew that he was going to push me to get the best out of me. And that's what he's done. And when he came in here, what he appreciated is that, look, even though I've been here for 13 years, he allowed me to just say, you know, I understand that this is the team that was built around me for many, many years, but I told him, just go hire the best people available. You know, friendships aside, friendships all matter, but I want to win more than anything. So just, you know, you don't need to tell me about every personnel change that you make, every pit crew member that you change in and out. Just do it. And I trust you that you're going to put the best people that you know available on my team. We have a tremendously deep team when it comes to our mechanics. I think we've got 3 former car chiefs just working on our car as our A-team guys. So, you know, it's just, he's got an incredibly deep team, and it's showing with the performance that we put on the racetrack. And not only that, but, you know, I'm not a nuts and bolts guy. I don't question him on the setup. I just say, the car is doing this, go to work on it. And he doesn't question the way I drive either. So that's a big difference as well, is that he works around my driving style, because he knows this is what I've been doing for 30 years that I've been driving. He's not going to break those habits. So it's up to him and his mind to adapt the car to fit my style.
That's beautiful. Thanks.
Got it.
Next question is going to come from Bob Pockris. Go ahead with the question, Bob.
Yeah, Denny, of all the new things this year, double headers, no practice, no qualifying, one-day shows, what do you think could most likely be used in the future? Not necessarily what you want, but what you think actually could happen.
Well, I think one-day shows is certainly in our future. I think that it's tremendously beneficial for the race teams and their financial model to not have backup cars, backup engines, backup parts, all that nonsense. You know, it costs a lot of money to repair cars that 95% of the time you don't even use. I think that, you know, practice and qualifying will probably happen on your elite events, ones that it's deemed very important weekends for NASCAR, and then they, you know, your majors, as you could probably say. But, you know, I think that the number one focus probably for NASCAR and everyone is getting our fans back. I think that every driver wants to get the fans back. You know, even when these things are just at quarter capacity, like Darlington was this past weekend, just the noise, the atmosphere is different. And it certainly is welcoming from our standpoint. So I'd like to see, you know, somehow in Phoenix, we have some sort of crowd. If we do make it to the Final Four, I would like to see some kind of way we can entertain our sponsors there at the racetrack, because this is a big deal for them. This is what they put their name on the car for, and for FedEx for the last 15 years, is to have an opportunity to win a championship. So you want them to be able to enjoy that and that in the atmosphere that whole city can bring. So that would be something that I'd like to see, and certainly I think that they'll continue to work on the model to figure out what's financially viable and good for the race teams, as well as, you know, what's in the best interest for the tracks and NASCAR as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question will come from Claire B. Lang. Go ahead with the question, Claire.
Great. Okay. Denny, I want to ask you, you know, everybody says Denny Hamlin, Richmond, home track advantage. Can you talk about what home track advantage there was like initially and what it's morphed into now for Denny Hamlin?
I basically left my notebook on top of the car, and it spread all over the racetrack, and every driver picked it up. You know, the data sharing crushed my advantage, or any advantage that I once had at that racetrack. And I think that, you know, it's been a benefit for me at other racetracks, but certainly I felt like when I went to Richmond, went to Martinsville, I had a tremendous advantage over the field. Not an unfair advantage, just a skill advantage. The way I drove those racetracks helped me perform. And when other drivers got to see that, it really kind of opened things up, and it took away any advantage that I might have on the driver's side. So then now we've had to rely on just putting a better race car on the racetrack than them, which is very, very difficult. So I think, you know, really when I look at Martinsville and Richmond, A guy that we were talking about a couple of years ago that hadn't even won a short track race, Martin Truex, is probably the gold standard right now on those two racetracks. So it's now my job to go back into that data, dig in it, and figure out, well, why is he beating me now? So it's time for me to kind of regain some of that information back, especially since, so much has changed within the cars and the aerodynamic package over the years. I just got to make sure I'm not leaving anything on the table.
And when you roll to the green at Richmond, do you still feel like maybe in the mojo, maybe in the mind of Denny Hamlin, maybe after all the study, that because you have been so good there with no practice, maybe you have the tiny little bit of advantage?
Well, I think my driving style in general gives me an advantage in the long runs. I think we see it at every racetrack where there's a high tire wear. It's always the last 10 to 15 laps of a run. I'm just typically faster than the field. I think my driving style takes care of the tires. The way I steer the car, brake the car, use the accelerator, I just am easier on the equipment than most guys. Now, it doesn't always mean I'm the fastest at the beginning of the run, but tracks like Richmond, it can really pay off when you have long runs, and you typically do have long runs at Richmond. Corner exit, getting the car to hook up and get off the corner is extremely difficult there, and my style always seems to be beneficial no matter what the setup is, just because of the characteristics of that track.
Have fun at Richmond. Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Our next question is going to come from Woody Kane. Go ahead with the question, Woody.
Ready scheme for something? I mean, it's more and more cycled around. Like back in the day, drivers just kind of said whatever they wanted. Then everybody was kind of buttoned up a little bit, and now it seems like more and more guys are willing to speak out and even partnering with their sponsors for social issues. What does the atmosphere feel like to you right now? A couple of weeks ago, Jimmy said we have just as much right to speak out as everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, when the whole George Floyd thing happened, you saw a commercial that NASCAR aired of all of us drivers talking about, listening and educating ourselves on, different social justice things, education, reform. And FedEx has given me the platform and the ability to go out and do that. And whether it be having, going to visit the National Civil Rights Museum and then putting that on the car for Talladega, to now the National Urban League and Project Ready, two organizations that FedEx has been contributing to through the FedEx Cares program for tens of years. I know the National Civil Rights Museum, FedEx is their biggest benefactor or contributor to that museum that's right there in Memphis. So FedEx has been supporting these causes and nonprofits for a very long time. And it's great that they give me the option and the platform to be able to share it to not only NASCAR fans, but NASCAR drivers and team members alike. I didn't hear you.
Are you feeling more comfortable personally being able to speak out than maybe past years now with everything that's going on?
Yeah, because I'm educated more. FedEx does a fantastic job of, anytime we have something special like this on the car, they give me the option to go and, well, do you want to learn about it versus just having the name on your car? Do you really know about this organization? Do you know what they do? They like I said, they give me the tools to be successful when it comes to this. So I do feel more comfortable speaking out because I know more about it than what I used to before.
Thank you.
Yep.
Our next question is going to come from Jason Brown. Go ahead with the question, Jason.
Thank you, Matt. Denny, thank you for the time. As always, this season, you've been fantastic. I know Darlington was not the finish that you wanted. You had a really good car. But with your playoff standing, and we all know what a competitor you are from week to week, was it easier to get over the frustration of Darlington knowing where you stood playoff-wise, or is it even harder to take because, you can't have, say another 13th place finish?
It sucks. I mean, I remember I throwing my water bottle after the race because I'm so mad. And, he's saying, well, the good news is we're plus 54. And I'm like, I don't care if we're plus 54 or plus 4. Like, I hate not finishing where I should finish or run. we can't help the time, the cautions when they happen. We just try to set a strategy out. The driver kind of made a mistake coming to pit road, I guess. I mean, I kind of got hit on the pit road where I couldn't stop there. So there's not much I could do. I had a whole train of cars behind me. I was trying to get down. That was a difficult time for us to try to pit, but it sucks the way it worked out. And, I'm such a competitor. Like I want to win every week. And I look at, the top 5 cars, and it's like, these guys, we outran for 95% of the race, and they go and steal wins and steal top 5s. It's just so frustrating for me, but it's just my fiery competitor. I feel like we've been in really good position to win a lot of races, and we were going to put ourselves in great position to win that one. We had just ran down Truex from 6 seconds back. We were less than a second and a half behind him when we pitted, and just blew it. Just made a mistake, and then forget the mistake. The caution then just absolutely tore our whole race apart. So, we have this playoff cushion for a reason. It's because we earned it during the regular season, but it doesn't make me get over it anymore, as you can tell by the anger in my voice from a race 4 days ago now.
No, that's obvious, but that can also serve you well too, coming into Richmond, right?
Yeah, I mean, it motivates me even more. I mean, I just every week I want to win. Every week I go out there and I'm like, there's nothing that's going to keep us from getting to victory lane. As long as we have no issues, we know we're gonna compete for a race victory, and Richmond, I would say, is no exception.
Thanks, Denny. Kudos to what you and FedEx are doing out in the community as well.
Appreciate it.
We're running short on time, but we do have time for one more question. That question will come from Mark Davis from Richmond. Go ahead with your question, Mark.
Hey, Denny, thanks a lot for doing this. Appreciate it. You had said during media day last week that you wanted to really start well in the first round and kind of carry that momentum into the second. And kind of piggybacking off of Jason's question there, does just your performance at Darlington kind of make where Richmond falls in the line even more crucial, a track you've run well on? And does the goal remain the same to still kind of get momentum and carry it into the second round?
Yeah, I think if we can win any one of these first, remaining 2 races in the first round, it gives us even more point cushion when we start the second round. Is Richmond crucial? No, probably not. But I can tell you that the motivation, I didn't deem Darlington crucial, but I still get fired up when we don't win. So I think that helps us in the sense of that we don't become complacent. And, I continue to want to build on my points cushion, because that second round ultimately is the biggest wild card round that we have in our playoffs. So, Talladega, we could wipe out our 47-point gap or whatever right off the bat. The Roval has not statistically been a good racetrack for us. And Vegas is no question our worst mile and a half within our 11 teams. So we've got to continue to do the work. We can do it in the first round. We still got 2 good tracks in front of us. And, we're going to continue to keep plugging away. And I'd like to get to, over 50 somehow, whether it be through stage wins or another race win itself. I'd like to get to, over 50 bonus points before we get to the next round.
Thank you, Denny. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Good deal. Well, Denny, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Good luck this weekend at the action track. We'll see you in Richmond.
All right. Thanks very much.
Take care now.